Hello! So, Dorian is the hero of the month for May of 2023. So, I thought I'd do a video about him. I've actually done I think probably in 2021 where I did like a video about Dorian. I think it's called Dorian the Vampirism here. I'll probably link that at the end if you want to see that one too. But we're going to have a new video here for this. So Dorian um, Dorian, as a young man, Dorian stole a red stone amulet to gift it to his beloved, but he didn't give it to her and became the amulet's slave. Dorian did what it wanted. It committed terrible acts. How difficult was it for him to overcome this burden? The reward for freedom was a special gift, the blood magic. Since then, the forever young mage has been the amulet's master, but who knows for how long. So he's a healer, he's additionally a support, and he's an intelligence hero. So he has, like I said, he has vampirism. Well, he buffs vampirism. So that's one thing, he can buff vampirism. I don't think he has natural vampirism, but he gives it to himself with this ability. So effectively, he does have vampirism. And his ult also puts a mark on the enemy that lets them, your allies, heal with all their damage. Pretty much grants like 155% vampirism for a time, and I'm pretty sure it stacks with initiation. So you're getting a whole lot of vampirism, like 270%. And then he has this one. This is a healing ability. Sacrifice 20% of his current health and heals an ally's lowest health. And this actually heals more than he sacrificed. So this is actually positive total health. With Biscuit, this has a lot of synergy with Biscuit's second ability. And then this one is his, says also healing. This is like a life drain, does damage to the enemy. It's the only ability he has that does damage, but this is also replenishes life. And he can use Mara, so if you use Mara, you can actually increase how often he uses his ability. I think that's the only one, or sorry, Merlin, not Mara. Merlin. I misspoke. Merlin. They both start with an M, forgive me. But Merlin increases how often he uses his ability. It's the only ability that's affected by Merlin, but he doesn't have a lot of patron choices, so a lot of times you are using Merlin on him. But if you go, Semi-Censored can talk about that right here. So if you put in Dorian, like I said, he only has two options. He has either Merlin or Axel. Both can make sense. A lot of times, if he's in the back, sometimes Axel makes sense if they have Jew or something. But if he's in the very back, you're not too worried about Dante, since Dante doesn't hit the very back slot unless somebody dies usually. So a lot of times you'll have Merlin, just to give him that extra speed on the more frequency on that one healing ability, the damage plus heal. Plus it gives him a bit more magic attack penetration, so it becomes a bit stronger. So it'll do a bit more because of that penetration there. So let's go back to Dorian. So that was his. So we've talked about his abilities. He has quite a few skins. He has 5 skins. He also has a champion skin, which you need to use to you need to buy it with a gold trophies. It takes 250 gold trophies to buy that skin. So, if you're not gold guild, you can't really get that one. But that's probably his best one, just because it's magic attack, but otherwise intelligence pretty good. Armor, like I said, help him not die. Magic defense, mitigation, health. There's a case to skip health on him. There's a case to be made that you skip it, but like I said, you can use his ult more often if he has lower health, and which lets him recover. Like I said, because he gets a healing pretty much. Said being able to use this ability more often might be for the best, but you also don't want him dying. So, like I said, there's a case to be made that you should skip health. In any case, it should probably be the last skin you do. If you have gold trophies, this should be the first one. Otherwise, I do defaults. And then you probably want to do the mitigation ones. So he doesn't die as often. Oh, shoot. Didn't want to click off him. That was stupid. That wasn't what I was trying to do. His glyphs. Like I said, same thing, magic attack, intelligence, and then armor, magic defense, and health last, or possibly skip it. There's, again, case to be made, you should skip health on him, and healers in general. Just like I said, just because they can use their ult more often. His ult's pretty good. The cases where you want to use his ult, using it more often is pretty good. artifacts. He buffs magic attack. No, physical attack. Sorry, he buffs physical attack. This is one of those things that's kind of holds Dorian back a bit because physical attack is the worst buff in the game. Like because it's only 21, 30, 57, and physical attackers have a lot of disadvantages. But a lot of times, like Dorian, like you'll usually see him more with mage heroes. Like you'll see him more like in PvP, like in mage teams, more than physical teams, and they can't make use of this buff. Like if he had magic attack buff, like honestly, it would definitely be for his benefit. But he has a lot of uses in more PvE content. Like I do like him as like a third string or a second string team in guild raids, and I'll talk about that line here in a second. Then he has magic attack health book, and then intelligence ring. Like I said, you'd probably do his artifact weapon last. And you'd probably want to do either the Reen or book first. Reen probably gives a bit more magic attack, so probably the Reen first, then book. Do this one last. It's very low priority because, again, physical attack's not going to help much, especially in the kind of teams you'll usually see him in. Ascension. He doesn't have any abilities. He's on the healer branch, which is one of the better branches. And it's pretty standard healer fare. You get intelligence, you get magic, then you get some mitigation health. There's nothing really special about his tree. All the healers are pretty similar. Like, I think the only one that's like really different is like Jet. That's like, otherwise they're all pretty similar. So nothing to note there. Maybe they'll eventually give him some ascension abilities. Ascension ability, like I said, there's more heroes who need ascension abilities, like for sure. But like one of the things, like I said, so a lot of times you'll see him in PvP. I actually do not really, like I said, the go-to team, a lot of people like to put him with Helios and Orion, which I don't actually think is that good. But sometimes you'll see it. I never thought it was very good. We should keep it on current because I know where to find my heroes on current. Just because the reason people recommend this because he sits in between them, and they can both benefit from the vampirism. And I guess that's fair, but it's still pretty weak. And generally the vampirism aura, like, it's kind of like Nebula, though it does have a bit more range. Like if your team gets bunched up with Lars or with like Maya or something, he can be really effective. Which kind of makes him more of a counter hero versus like a Lars or a Maya. Sometimes like you can lose to Dorian if they like even like twins or something. Cleaver like can also get kind of countered by him. Just because Cleaver like will hook Dorian, pull him to the front, which will give their front line vampirism. So Dorian's more like in PvP. Honestly, he's more of a counter hero, but I have found him pretty useful in guild raid for a second stream team. So the first team everybody uses, they use the Stone Cold line, right? Which Stone Cold, as you should know, is these 5 heroes, right? It's usually set up kind of like this. Sometimes you might use Albus if you're like really strong. But that's Stone Cold. I guess it'd be like this actually. It'd be usually Albus on Sebastian, but that's Stone Cold, so that's the first team everybody uses for your raids, or at least so that's the top team for the Osh the Keeper fight. But the second team I'd find that does really well is actually I do this one with Aurora up front, then Corvus. You actually been using Yasmin here because she's like I said, if you can keep her alive, she'll actually do a lot of damage. And part of how you keep her alive is a Dorian. So Dorian with Corvus, so Corvus has an ability, right, that if a hero gets below life, Corvus will teleport that hero to the middle of the team. And so what happens when that happens, if Dorian goes low health, Corvus transports the team, he ends up giving your whole team vampirism. So this actually allows Yasmin to heal from her peer damage over time and stuff. And I've actually seen Yasmin stay alive versus the 150 boss for pretty much the whole fight, like as Dorian got moved to the center. So I found this team, like I've done over 20 million to 150 boss this team. To 160 boss, I haven't quite done that much, but my Dorian, not really developed for it. He dies too easily to the meteors because I haven't, like I said, he's only like orange 3 or whatever. Like, so eventually we will do more into him. And then he'll probably survive, like, and then get teleported and then do that. Like I said, he's definitely one of those heroes that's definitely on my radar to be like a project hero. Like I said, one of these days there'll probably be one of those buffing up Dorian videos, where he becomes like my guy, where I do that with. Like I said, Aiden's kind of my current project hero. We're finishing up though. We're really close to finishing that. Like, and then he'll be orange, red too. And honestly, we have a theme like I mean, there's a case to be made that maybe I'll just use the gift of the minion to max him out. So we might be able to start Dorian soon unless I decide to go with someone else. Like, there's a case to be made I should do Ishmael or Iris next. Haven't decided. There's a case for Rufus, but I probably won't be Rufus next. But yeah, no, he's pretty good. For certain teams, like I wouldn't recommend him as like one of your first heroes or one of your first 15. He's more like one of those heroes that you do for like if you're like a really advanced player, like maybe your 11th through 15th, but that probably shouldn't be your first 10 heroes. Like if you need a healer, Celeste is better, Thea's better, Martha's better. Like most people, like you're gonna want Celeste and Martha before you do Dorian. Probably Thea before you do Dorian. Like they're just better. I mean, Dorian, he has his uses, but he's more niche. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, not too much more to say about this. If you want to see my last video on Dorian, you can find that below. Thanks for watching.